Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Surface Tension by developer Angry Dome. This is another entry from the LD29 competition with the theme Beneath the Surface. In this case, the thing that's going to be beneath the surface is each rock that we pitch on this placid, beautiful lake in the attempts to try and skip stones as far as we can. It's a super simple premise and this is probably going to be a very short video, but it's one of those cases where the game is just extremely fun and accessible and I just figured it'd be worth sharing with you guys. So I found myself already playing this for far longer than I expected to, and I don't think my stats are going to necessarily reflect that as I start up a throw here, but just so you know, I already played this in the web browser version, then I went and downloaded it. So I'm pretty addicted. So let's give the stone a throw, and I will explain to you how simple it is to skip rock. So all we do, wait for the prompt, press up on the arrow key. Sometimes you get it perfect, sometimes you don't. If you get it perfect, it goes further. If you don't get it perfect, it sinks faster. And it's not something that you can do to try and spam. Like, if you just hit up a million times, the stone's just going to sink immediately. You actually have to basically time it so you get one press right around the perfect time. And as you saw, it can go not so far if you don't do so well. So let's throw again. There are some stats, of course, that it keeps track of, which is pretty nice. And so far, these are all terrible throws. Let's get a good one, though. I want to show you how far it can go. Yeah, if you get a bunch of perfects in a row, things start to work out. And it feeds on this very simple, kind of like a Tiny Wing style gameplay, where it's like there's almost nothing to be learned about how to play the game other than just to do it better. So when I mentioned Tiny Wings, like an iOS game that you may or may not have heard of, but one that essentially all you do is you either tap the screen or you hold the screen, and you have to get this little bird over these little hills and try and maintain momentum as long as you can, and essentially the sun's going down and you're trying to get as far as you can before the sun goes down, and if you make it off each one of the islands, you get more time, so on and so forth. That's actually a much more complex even version than this is. All we're doing here is literally pressing up to make this rock go further. And it's kind of funny because I really enjoy just skipping stones IRL. So it's like to see an emulation of that in a video game that's almost equally as addictive. I don't know, there's just something cool about that. The only downside is you don't get to, like, pick your stone, because that was part of the fun when you're actually out by a pond or something trying to do this, is you get to, like, look around and find a nice flat rock, and in this case, well, the rock's optimal every time, so it kind of takes that variable away from things. I kind of liked betting on whether a certain given rock would do better than another one, and so far I'm doing terribly lately. I had my best run. I think I got over 100... whatever measurement units we're using here. I guess we're using skips, and it wouldn't be 100 skips. I don't know, I thought it was a very large number. Okay, well, that was awful. Most perfect skips is 4. How many perfect skips did I get in a row? I think my record was like 4 or something. And one more. There it is. 2. And one more. This also reminds me a little bit of, I think it's called Berserk Ball. All these iOS games are coming to mind. It's like, this very much fits that type of gameplay that's like very easy to pick up and play. You can play it for 5 seconds, you can play it for 20 minutes. The options are yours. And of course, if this had like online leaderboards, that would also be a really good way to get people super addicted to it. But as far as like an LD game, something that you design in 48 hours, I think this is an excellent method for developers to go after this type of gameplay that's like not overly ambitious and lets you really fine-tune and do what's here, do it very well, and polish it to the point where it works perfectly. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a simpler premise than this, so I guess in that way the odds are kind of stacked against other people when they don't have a premise that simple. But the execution here is well done. I kind of wish there was like more variety to the scenery, maybe. Like you could find some palm fronds, like cattails and ducks or something occasionally. Maybe you'd run into a specific spot where like you would get a good perfect skip and maybe like a duck or a bird would fly out from the background or something. I don't know, there's just like various little silly things that you could add to make this more, I guess, I don't know if convincing would be the right word, but just a little bit more fun to look at. Not that it's bad by any means the way it is. I actually think that little detail of having the ripple come out each time and, you know, the parallaxing forest in the background, it's a nice touch. Maybe some clouds that could travel by occasionally. It's also the very nice, relaxing soundtrack of just the nature sounds is perfect. You know, you don't really need much else. I imagine if you tried to put a soundtrack to this, that could end up being a little bit frustrating. You know, too much going on. I think sometimes you pick a good concept, you stick with it, you keep it very simple. You just play up to your core strengths, and then you end up with something that's very addictive and fun. So this is another example of that type of thing, and, you know, it's really a shame that this isn't actually on iOS, because I would totally buy this for $1 and probably play it for a couple of hours. So, there you go, developer. If you hear this, you have my blessing. Make an iOS game of this and I will buy it. Not that I can say that I necessarily speak for everyone, but I definitely would get into something this simple. So I guess there's not a whole lot else to say beyond that. But go check out Surface Tension if you'd like. Go give it a download or play it right online in your browser. Either way, it is rather addictive. You're going to find yourself pressing up a whole bunch, and that's okay. Sometimes that's all you really need to do in a game. So let me know what you thought of this in the comments. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear from you. Get a little discussion going as to whether or not super casual, simple games like this can be just as successful as the complex ones. I would say that, you know, personally, they can be, but it just depends on what you're going after. If you have a goal in mind, stick to it. And sometimes you can get something just as immersive and fun out of something much more complex. But it's just easier when there's less variables, I would say. Either way, whatever the case is, if a game's fun, a game's fun. So let me know what you think about all of that in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. And of course, the description will have not only the game links, but as well as my other social media links like my Twitter, my Facebook, and of course my Twitch channel if you want to go check those out. And with that, I will leave you for another day. Come on back tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions up every single day, so I hope to see you back for another one. And I hope you have a fantastic night. I'll talk to you later.